This time we'll be discussing what is an API. When I was starting learning programming, I was asking myself, what is an API? What kind of animal it is? Later, I've noticed that it's not an animal. Rather, it's an application programming interface. So today, we'll be discussing what is an API. Let's continue. So API is a type of software that enables at least two computer programs to communicate by transferring data between them. So an API is more like a middleware or a middleman that serves to transfer data between applications. For example, you enter data on a browser, you press enter, that data needs to be transferred to the server, and then whatever the data that you are looking from the server also needs to be transferred from the server to you, which is the client, in this case a browser. Basically, an API, it serves as transferring data between the application. Hopefully it's clear. If it's not clear, the only thing that you need to note is that an API transferring data between the application. That's it. Let's continue. We'll be discussing two types of API. The first one, REST API. Second one, SOAP API. So this time around, I will be focusing mostly on the description and some pictures as well, just to show how they look like. Firstly, let's start with a REST API. REST API is a representational state transfer, and it also uses HTTP protocol and JSON for data format. So basically, data format is how you structure your data, and also the HTTP is the endpoint that you specify that uniquely identify the URL where you want to request to the server. And JSON is just the format where you represent, you put the body, whatever that you want to request to the server. So let's continue. REST API resource method. It got 4 resource methods. The first one is get, second put, third post, last one just delete. Simple as that. Get is if you want to retrieve information. Basically, if you, for example, you want to retrieve information from the server, you use get method. If you want to update something to the server, you use put method. If you want to upload or put a data on a server or database, basically on a database, you use post. If you want to delete something on the database, you use delete. Simple as that. Get if you want to get information, put if you want to update existing information on the database, post if you want to upload the information on the database, delete if you want to delete the information on the database. Here's an example of an API. So at the top here, you can see there's an endpoint which identifies the server that you are requesting, and also HTTP method that we recently discussed. This time around is post. It means we are uploading data to the database. And also you need HTTP headers to specify the content type. Basically, you can see there is a content type. In this case, they are using JSON, and it's accepting JSON and some authorization that you need to specify. And also you can see the body that you are updating to the database. Basically, this is an example of a REST API. The endpoint, which is the URL to the server, HTTP method, which is the whatever the kind of request that you want to make to the server. If you want to if you want to update the information, you use put. If you want to get the information from the database, you use get. In this case is post. It means we are posting this information, which is the body. HTTP headers is just additional information that goes with this payload. So now let's discuss a SOAP API. SOAP API uses an XML data format to declare its request and respond messages, relying on an XML schema and other technologies to enforce the structure of its payload. Yeah, basically SOAP and API is an old technology that were used before, but still in use this time around. So it uses what is called an XML data format to declare its request. It means its request is in the form of an XML. Unlike a REST API, you can see it uses a JSON rather than an XML. So here, SOAP, it uses an XML as a data format. You will see an example of an XML as we continue. So yeah, SOAP actually it enforces the structure as its payload in the form of an XML, and it tends to be more secure compared to REST API. So this is how a SOAP API XML looks like. You can see actually it got an envelope, and it also got a header, and it also got a body. Body is whatever the content that you want to do the request to the server. Things to note here is that in an XML, you got an envelope, you got a header, you got a body. In the body is the data that you want to request to the server. Let's continue. So here, this time, let's discuss in this slide, let's discuss the REST and the SOAP API status code. So basically, if you request something to the server, we'll be discussing 3 status codes. The first one, which is 200, it means if you request something to the server and then you get status 200, it means whatever that you requested to the server went through successfully. If you get 400, it means you have passed a bad request to the server, so you need to fix your request. If it's 400, it means you've passed something wrong. It means you need to fix your request. If it's 500, it means an error happened on the server side. It means server wasn't able to fulfill the purpose. So it means something happened on the server. So mostly if it's 400, it means you need to fix what you passed or what you are requesting to the server. 200, it means everything went through successfully. 500, it means an error was unable to fulfill its purpose, like something went wrong. So yeah, and the difference between the REST and the SOAP API is that REST is more modern. It means it's very light, and yeah, it uses JSON and HTTP, so, and it's not heavy as well. It's also commonly used nowadays. Many many people are migrating from SOAP API and are moving to REST API. So SOAP API is heavy, and it uses an XML, and is more secure as well. So, but due to large payload that you need to pass through, that is why many people are moving away from it, but it's still in use. So basically, this is what I wanted to discuss with you. Next time we'll go through the practicals, and we'll be calling the REST API and also SOAP API, just to show how they work in practical. Thank you for watching. Bye.